Hi, I've had some questions about the homework for week 1 with QuickBooks Online, so I thought it'd be best if I just record a quick video. For your lesson 1 or your chapter 1 assignment, you're going to use, and I'm going to click back here to week 5 right quick, you're going to use the test drive account. Okay, so you're not going to actually use your account, and you're going to work through that chapter, and then you're just really practicing and getting to know QuickBooks Online. But then when you get to page 37, right where it says exercise 1-1, and it says if you have not signed out, do that now. So you're just going to close that QuickBooks Test Drive, and then you're going to open it back up, and it gives you that link again. It's qbo.intuit.com REDIR test drive, and you're going to start with the test drive again, and you can practice with the test drive anytime you want to, because it's a great place to go in and test something. And every time you log back in, it's going to be back to the beginning. Okay, so, and then you're going to do all the transactions on page 37 and 38, and then on pages 38 and 39 it has you run some reports, and you're going to turn in to me just the journal report and the trial balance. You're going to export those as Excel. But I've had a couple of people say that they've had some trouble with Excel crashing on their computer. So if you need to submit those as a PDF, that's fine too. Just submit just those 2 reports. I mean, it has you run more than those. It has you run 3 reports, but you only have to submit those 2. Okay, then for chapter 2, I've had a couple of people say, do I use the test drive? No, remember, you should have already set up. If you go back to the week 1 folder, that was one of your tasks in week 1, was to set up your QuickBooks account. Okay, so you should have already done this. If you haven't, you need to go here and set that up, and your work is going to be late because this is something you should have already done. It takes a couple of days for them to do that, and don't forget to use your ECU email address. Okay, so when you get to chapter 2, you're going to kind of flip through the first few pages, because all that's doing is talking about setting up a new account. And so you can read what they're talking about there, but really the first time you're going to start using the chapter for your homework is 47, and it's really just talking about settings there for you. You're not changing anything yet. But when you get to page 51 in chapter 2, that's where you're going to start changing stuff. And so it's going to look like this. You're in your, and make sure you've got your name and the name of your company. If you don't, you can change that. And all you have to do to change it is to click this gear icon and go to settings, and then click company settings. And that's where you're going to start in chapter 2 on page 51 anyway. And then your company name right here, all you have to do is click the pencil, and you can edit that, make sure your name is there, and then you can edit other things here. But one of the things you're going to edit is you're going to turn on account numbers. And so you click advanced, and then right here where it says chart of accounts, enable account numbers, right now it's turned off. You're going to go right here and click check yes and check and show, and click save. You're also going to make a few other edits in the settings, but I'm just going to do that one. You can do the other ones from the book. Click the X here, and then the other thing you're going to do a lot of work with begins on page 57, and it's setting up your chart of accounts. So if you click the gear and go to chart of accounts, you're going to see your chart of accounts here, and on page 57 it lists a whole lot of chart of accounts numbers, but your goal really is to have all of those, and you may see something in here that matches. And so, like for example, and you can add new ones by clicking new. You can edit these. So this prepaid expenses one and it is an other current asset, and so if you look on page 57, you've got that table. That really matches up well with the one that's on the 3rd line, other current assets, prepaid expenses. We're going to change the details types, prepaid expenses. We're going to change the name to prepaid insurance and add the number 125. So to do that, we just do edit, and right here the name is going to be prepaid insurance, and the number is 125, and now I can hit save, and I've got that one in there the way it's supposed to be. Okay, your inventory, you've got that one, detail type inventory, Inventory asset, you can change that one to merchandise inventory and make the account number 115. If you picked a different kind of category than I did when you set yours up, your chart of accounts may look a little different than mine at this point. It doesn't matter how you start. It just matters that when you end this chapter, you have all of the accounts that are listed. A good place to start on page 60 and 61, that you have all of those listed and the type is correct and the account number is correct, because we're going to use those throughout the chapter. But then as you keep going, I'm going to skip and then come back here just a second. You're going to add a few more in exercise 2-1. So on page 66 and 67, you're going to add a few more or edit a few more. So you need to edit or add accounts. If you have more than what the book tells you to, it's fine. Just make sure you have all of the ones the book tells you to. One other thing that's important in chapter 2 is on page 63. You're going to do option 2 to invite accountant. I also talk about that here in week 5. I'll go back to week 5 in Blackboard so you can see what I'm talking about. In week 5, it says when you get to page 63 of chapter 2, you'll find options for company administrator. That means me. You're going to choose option 2 and use this email address and the name Stacy Bolin. Okay, and then you're going to invite me to be your accountant. And that will give me the option to access your accounts. So these 4 folks have already done that, and you can see them here, and I can click over and get to Kathy James's file. It takes just a second to load because it actually pulls it from the cloud. And so if one of you guys has a question specifically about yours, I'm able to go in and look at it. So if I want to go look at chart of accounts, I can see that, okay, and see that she's already added those numbers and made those edits. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email, but I knew that this video would be helpful in getting you guys started. Those of you that are having a little trouble, don't forget that you also need to do this QBO Chapter 1 and 2 quiz before midnight tonight. You'll be best suited to do this after you've done these homework assignments. These are really to review and to help you prepare for the final exam. Your final exam will be very much like the quizzes, but it will have 100 questions. Some of these quiz questions will reappear. Some of them will be new. Also, because QuickBooks Online is software as a service, just like Office 365, it gets updated really, really often. The textbook company obviously can't reprint a new textbook every time, but they do put out textbook updates. Those are here if you'd like to take a peek at those. You also will get some notifications in QuickBooks Online when you log in. Okay, that's all for now.